The Alliance for Animals, a statewide animal advocacy nonprofit, has grave concerns about the advisory questions posed at this meeting tonight and about the Conservation Congress process in general. As initially created by Aldo Leopold and others in the 1930s, the Conservation Congress was designed to be a democratic and open forum for all citizens to provide input about the state's natural resources to the Wisconsin DNR. It is clear to us, after looking at the advisory questions, that the only group represented by the Conservation Congress is the hunting public. We find this to be a travesty to the public interest and the natural resources of the state of Wisconsin. The Alliance for Animals encourages the 88% of Wisconsin's population that does not hunt and that enjoys Wisconsin's natural resources and wildlife to become actively involved with this public input process. The Alliance for Animals also strenuously objects to the Wisconsin DNR's lack of attention to the unbalanced public process that it now supports and actively promotes to only the hunting public. We emphatically ask the DNR to reassess its policies and procedures in order to include this non-hunting 88% of the public in this vital public input opportunity, or to provide an analogous mechanism to allow for this input. Regarding question 62, the Alliance for Animals believes that feral cats are not game animals and should not be the target of hunters. The best solution for the feral cat problem in Wisconsin is trap, neuter, return, also known as TNR. Studies and programs around the world have shown that this is the most effective and humane way to reduce feral cat populations. The real threat, thank you. The real threat to the songbird and small mammal population is actually encroaching human development, not feral cats. The Alliance for Animals strongly encourages individuals to keep cats indoors at all times. The Alliance for Animals actively supports the implementation of community-based TNR programs throughout the state involving city and county governments, humane societies, rescue groups, rural landowners, and private individuals as the answer to the feral cat overpopulation problem. Thank you.
That would have been out in the woods forever to breed and all that. I took them in, had them spayed and neutered. My family loves them. They're wonderful cats. And if they get out and get shot, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to tell my children. But I can say one thing, collars don't really work. We have chips now that go in to identify the cats. And collars, the cats get strangled on them. They take them off. They don't like collars. And I just don't know what I'm going to tell my kids. That, it's going to give hunting a bad name if you shoot the cats. Thanks.
Ma'am?
To reiterate, my cat also was a feral cat. His name's Gomez, and he is the best cat in the world. I figured the man in La Crosse, he should maybe get a taller bird feeder, for one thing. And and another thing, there's other birds eat the songbird's eggs, and raccoons, and to pick on a domestic animal is just ridiculous. I was so surprised that we were killing doves, which is the sign of peace. Now we're going after our cats. What's next? Dogs? But bottom line is, I'm almost embarrassed to be a citizen of Wisconsin. I mean, what? I have friends in other states that can't believe that we shoot the dove of peace, and now they're chasing after cats. And again, I'm going to probably go and shiver somewhere in the corner, but I had to say my piece. Please do not let this go through. Let us love our cats. Like my Gomez is the best cat. My sister's got a feral cat, and you would never know he was a feral cat. And thank you for listening.
And I'd like to mention that everybody here tonight is welcome to be here. It's a democratic process. You can vote either way you want to. You can offer resolutions. We're happy to have you here. But I myself am very disappointed that the news media and half the people in this room are here for the wrong reason. You know that the state legislature right now is going to cut the DNR budget so
Don, I need to stop you. Unless we're talking about question 62, please keep your comments to 62 at this time.
Okay, this is, DNR is going to have a ruling on feral cats. So this is about DNR and feral cats as part of their program. They're going to cut 25 of 205 conservation wardens. They're going to cut $2.2 million from the wildlife program. They're going to cut 30 wildlife jobs. They're going to cut wildlife population surveys, eliminate habitat management on state land, close wildlife education centers, cut 6 land planning jobs, cut $2.14 million from the fisheries program, cut 27 fisheries jobs, What's more important, people here, feral cats or protecting our habitat and environment and the wildlife? I think we should take a harder look at some of these more important issues than to talk about a few cats that are roaming out there that are not near as important as some of these other issues. Cut musky stocking by 50%, walleyes by 50%, cut northern pike.
Don, we're not covering what the question number 62. Unless you have more to add on 62, I'm going to have to stop you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And I just say, obviously, a lot of us are here because of somebody else's proposal, and we want to put an end to it. And the main thing we want to do here is attack the problem of outdoor ownerless cats, not the cats themselves. And there's a whole lot of established practices for doing this and a lot of established leaders in our state we need to look to do that. I don't have a lot to say, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who took the time to pay a little attention to this. Pay a little attention to the Conservation Congress, absolutely. Look at the bigger picture and see where your conservation interests are being served. But certainly take an interest in Q62 because it has a lot to do with our humanity as a state, with our ability to think reasonably and find reasonable, humane, effective solutions to our problems. So thanks again.
Thank you.
My name is Colleen Rodi-Zuni, and I guess I'm the only one up here who is actually going to be voting for this proposal. I think it was a good idea to be brought up. It's not a situation where they're trying to create a hunting season for cats or anything like that, but I know for a fact, being a hunter and having lived out on the farm myself, that these animals don't just eat the songbirds. They eat a lot of songbirds, but they're also taking away a lot of our prime animals that we hunt for fun and for meat, including squirrels and rabbits. And I feel that this is a good proposal because a lot of these trap, neuter, and release programs are only spreading the cat overpopulation problem from the cities further out into the country and creating more problems where a lot of people do hunt. Thank you.
Thank you.
I teach a class on human-animal relationships, as a matter of fact, so I'd like to appreciate giving my class. I'd like to thank everybody here for giving my class lots of things to talk about in the future. But I am here to speak against the proposal to reclassify cats, and there are many reasons for that. I'll just go over two of them, both of which I think have not been covered in much depth yet. The first, I can be very brief, and that's the fact that as far as we know, based on historical precedent, it just won't work. Those of you who are as long in the tooth as I am remember the 40s and 50s and 60s in which there were lots of loose and feral dogs. Loose dogs were a significant and large problem over all of the United States. People shot dogs. People shot dogs all the time, and it didn't help. It didn't make any difference. We still shoot dogs, I'm sure, on occasion. But what made a difference was education, a change in leash laws, a change in management, a change in spay and neuter policies. It was public education that really made a difference. And that's I would argue, what we need. And I would argue that's also the reason that Congress should vote against this proposal, because this proposal is regrettably not constructive, it's inflammatory. As we can see by the different groups in this room, there's a lot of potential polarization here, but I would argue to you that there's more consensus here in many ways than there is disagreement. I would argue that everybody in this room, and I know some people in this room will disagree with me, but I would argue that all the hunters and all the fishermen and all the farmers in this room are people who love animals too. They wouldn't spend all their time with animals if they didn't love them. There's a tremendous amount of respect for animals, and I realize that that's showed in many different ways, and there's disagreement about that, but there's tremendous consensus. And this is a chance we have to build consensus. I think everybody, I don't know one person in this room who would vote for, yeah, let's see more songbirds die. We could put that up as a resolution next year. I don't think it would pass. I think there's a lot of consensus here, but I think the proposal sets farmers and hunters up as people who appear as though they don't care about animal welfare. I don't think that's true.
30 seconds.
This is not an animal rights issue. I would argue this is a chance for the Conservation Congress, no matter what your perspective, no matter how many years you've come here, no matter what you do with animals, this is your chance to vote for humane, consensus-building education and against inflammatory and unconstructive proposals.
And unlike most everyone else who's been up here, I'm here to speak on behalf of the hunters, so please listen up. I spent the last 30 years in a career of varied natural resource management and education, including national programs for wildlife education and hunter education. If there's one thing that you need to understand in this room tonight, the future of hunting and natural resource management has never hinged more than right now than on the public perception, the public influence, and the public effect on the future management of those resources. If you doubt that, take a look around you. Unfortunately, the vast majority of the public, just through our lifestyles, are disconnected with wildlife and wildlife management practices. In the future, they're going to dictate, as they have already across the United States and on an increasing basis, what we will enjoy in our natural resources. If you are a hunter, think hard and long about the cost-benefit ratio of what you're about to do tonight. Years ago, an outdoor writer friend of mine was telling a story about how he went out to shoot a couple of clay pigeons in the backyard in a field, saw a small cat, black and white one, next to a shed, figured, damn feral cat, I may as well get rid of it, even though it's small, it might eat a pheasant someday, and so he shot it. For those of you who have not shot a cat with 7.5 bird shot, it is not pretty, it is not clean, and it is not quick. By the time the cat stopped screaming and he shot it again and again and again, his wife and his daughter came screaming out of the house because, in fact, he was gone all weekend and didn't know that that was his 7-year-old daughter's birthday present, a new cat. Now, I'm not applying for the emotional aspect here. What I want you to realize is the cost-benefit ratio of what he did and the lasting implications. The lasting implications, if you vote yes on this decision, is that you will take the 90% of the people who are going to dictate the future of hunting and fishing in this state and across the United States, and you're going to label hunters as wanton killers who don't care about resources, and you're going to alienate the power structure of what's going to happen in the next 5, 10, and 15 years within the management of our natural resources. The people on these boards, your wildlife conservation
30
officers,
seconds.
are all going to be someday non-hunters or in between. This is your chance to not alienate those people forever. There's a little girl sitting right over here. If you think her teachers don't own a cat, you're wrong. And if you think you vote on this yes, and that girl's going to grow up with the perception that hunters are good things to support, you're wrong. If you're a hunter, vote with your conscience on what's right for the longevity and future of hunting and natural resource management.
I'm a hunter, I'm a trapper, and I own 6 feral cats. And to tell you the truth, I wouldn't mind seeing them all of them die because they do kill birds. I've seen them kill goldfinches. And they don't just kill them to eat them, they kill them for fun. And they have distemper too. When I was a young boy, one of my cats died of distemper. And I saw it suffer. I saw it sitting there, just whining, not being able to move a limb at all, just whining. And I was sobbing. And my stepdad took it out and shot it in the head, which is faster than having it die of some horrible disease. And, you know, it's not like a lot of people, I don't know, everyone out here is just going to go and hunt for cats, or if they just see them, they'll shoot them, because it's not too bad if a cat dies. I mean, it's quicker getting shot in the head than having it suffer.
Sir, we're not covering anything here other than inflaming the crowd. Please, if you have something else to add it. Otherwise, we're going to move on.
No, I'm all right.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.